India is in my heart. It always will be, because I think we need to completely get out of our comfort zone. It's not like, oh, I'm going to get out. I live in Lisbon. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and I'm going to go to Barcelona. That's extreme. No, it's not.
Welcome to the Global Indian Podcast, the world's greatest journey and the official platform for people of Indian origin. Because let's face it, we are everywhere. My name is Rajan Nazran, and on our weekly show, we plunge into the human experience of being a person of Indian origin, take a closer look at the countries we now call home, and tackle the issues you need to know more about. This is the world's greatest journey that will ultimately change the way you see the notion of Indianness to be, and importantly, our connection to each other. Every week, the team and I are joined by our guests, where we have open conversations about the 50 shades of brown that is our experience, and take a closer look at the issues close to their hearts. In this episode, we travel all the way down to Portugal to meet with a fantastic individual, Miguel Riberio, who is also a founder of the app, Sheerme.com, who have been our proud supporters since day one. And he was also the head of the helm for a magnificent company called Zomato, which I'm sure many of you know. In this episode, Miguel runs us through his version of Indianness, having worked extensively in the regions there, but also being a dynamic bridge between the two countries in Portugal. We also delve back into the human experience that he has of being an entrepreneur, doing the work that he does, and also what it means to him, the purpose and significance of his roles. This is a fantastic open conversation and it flows so well. So my opinion today to you is grab your drink of choice, sit back wherever you are if it permits you to do so, and enjoy this riveting conversation, because I can guarantee the only thing you can be feeling after this is inspired. And like always, listen to the end. I can tell you more about the Global Indian series and how you too can get involved. I hope you enjoy the session.
Get up and just move. 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 Get up and just.
What fascinates me is you were part of one of the largest companies in India. You brought them over to Europe, and you've got this incredible understanding of what this concept of Indianness is, even more so than most other people of Indian origin, because you live it, you breathe it, you do business in it, you head up Zomato's work across Europe, you've been back and forth. And I think that will be an astonishing understanding for the audience to get, to say, actually, what does this mean? What does it translate to not just a business sense, but also the way that you think with your own businesses? Because you did incredibly well.
So I think I was very lucky to be adopted almost by an Indian company. I think I dropped an email. I was lucky that someone was looking at their inbox and said, okay, this guy might be crazy enough to join us and do something different. So I think I was extremely lucky for someone in a company like Zomato wanted to hear what some guy from another part of the world, a very small country that almost no one knows about, had to say about digital business in the restaurant area. So I think the vision came from Zomato also. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't pass through these maybe 6, 7, almost 7 years with Zomato. I've learned so much with amazing people. So I think that's I saw an opportunity. I dropped an email. Someone was looking at their inbox. They replied back, crazy enough to say, come and join. And I was also crazy enough to say, yes, for sure. Hell yeah, I'll go. So
prior to that craziness, you were an established entrepreneur in Portugal, and you had worked incredibly hard, and you built this business up, and then you joined into that. So what's it like being you? What is this concept of Indianness? Because you've lived it with Zomato guys for in excess of over 7-8 years.
So I believe that there's a lot of similarities between Portuguese people and Indian people. We're extremely hard workers. Okay, we're people that are not used to not fighting for something. We're a small country, so we have to fight a lot harder for anything that we want. Um, uh, and I think that is aligned with the Indian culture. It's such a big country. For you to thrive and for you to do something, you have to be 10 times better than the next guy that is right beside you. So I think though that working culture is very similar. It brought us together. I think there's some roots between us. I don't know, somewhere in the middle. I don't know, in our DNA. I don't know how to explain, but there's some familiarity when we go to India. We feel at home. We feel welcome, and I know you know your culture. You know your people. You're extremely welcoming, and I think that's something that worked out pretty well for us. We are Portuguese. We are like that as well. So I think it worked out very well with both of our cultures. You asked what's it like being me? Well, I think it's a little dangerous being me because someone told me very recently that I'm a founder. Um, and being a founder of things, you get you have a time limit. You know, you'll get sick of things or tired of things in a very fast way. If things get aligned and very secure and very safe and on track, I'll try to find something else that shakes my tree. So I think that is it's good in a way. It's good in a sense to be me because I think it's always I'm always looking for new things and innovation and where can I add value. But also it's very tiring. I'll tell you that because at the end of the day, the day is like 16, 20 hours of work, 4 hours of sleep, and that's a good day. Uh, and those are the days that I like. Physically, I don't know how much longer I can take this, but I'll keep fighting. Let's see.
It's I think the other thing that's remarkable because you are essentially the reason why we kicked up a whole digital plan for the Global Indian. It was based on, for the audience to know, we met in Portugal, we sat down in a restaurant, almost like a James Bond movie. The restaurant was closed, yet they let us go inside. And you looked at me squarely saying, Rajan, well, you're doing everything in print. You need to go digital. I was
Yeah.
thinking, at the time I was a bit skeptical, but then it's like the positive persuasion that you have. And it spearheaded everything. So I think being a founder is one thing, but also you're very human in your approach to everything. I remember you told me a story about Zomato when they first went into Europe, and they said, "Look, we don't want to be seen as an Indian company. Take us
Yeah.
there." And you turned around and said something absolutely extraordinary. What was your thoughts? What did you tell them, and why did you say that to them?
So I understood where this thing was coming from. So I think bad experiences in other countries, saying that we were an Indian company establishing business there. But I think it depends on the communication. It depends on how you approach this and how you put this. And I thought that in Portugal, when I launched Portugal, I was very proud to say that I'm representing an Indian company. An Indian company invested in Portugal in post crisis, post 2012-13 crisis. So I think this was something that was very well seen. So when I was in Delhi and was coming back to Portugal and I heard this for the first time, I said, okay, I understand where this is coming from, but I think if this is positioned in a way that people understand, if there's a story behind this, and there was, I think it's more powerful than people think, because it's an Indian company investing in a small country like Portugal and looking into to Europe. So I think that's a very noble story to tell, and I felt very humble being the representative of this Indian company in Portugal, in Europe, in the places that I would pass. So I think I was very proud of that, and I wanted to show people that um, India has so much potential. It's a huge country that we need to be scared of because it's big in terms of doing business, but it has so much potential, so many amazing people, so much to give to the world. And I felt very proud and humbled that I could be part of that, to promote that Indianness, like you call it, and very well, and I like that term, um, uh, to spread it across the world, or at least to as many people as I talk to. I think in my day to day, right now, I'm a very proud Portuguese, of course, and I never thought that I would say this. I'm very patriotic about my country and what I do, and all that. But I think the second sentence that I always say that also. But India is a fantastic country, and we need to look at India, and we need to do business with India. So I think I'm divided. Maybe I'm right now. It was before a little more than that, but I still feel that I don't know, 60% Portuguese, 40% Indian. I don't know, something like that.
It's the beard, Miguel. It's the
It
beard.
is. It is. It is.
It's getting to that. You're looking like a sadhu from the
Yeah,
places.
I'm going to tame it today. So it's just today. I'll tame it today.
But like, it's fascinating because even with your own company now with Sheerme as an app, one of the things that you're saying in the phone was, yeah, Rajan, we're going across Europe, but the market that I want to be hitting towards is India.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas most people typically, when they're looking at business, will be saying, well, the markets that I want to penetrate will be the US, or I want to go to Canada, all of those Western sides. What's enabled you to pivot, and why do you feel so secure in yourself to say, actually, I can make this work there, when a lot of other people are petrified because they say you need to have capital patience. You're looking to business there, you have the issues of bureaucracy. But for you, it's a challenge that you think is an educated one to go fully fledged in.
So you're not right when you say that I'm very confident. I'm scared. Of course, I'm scared of going to India, but I believe that being there, I've seen that there's been a huge leap in digital in India. They passed from analogic to digital very fast. There's a huge amount of very young people, millennials, that want to explore the world, that use apps on their daily basis. They want to be more efficient on their day to day. Of course, you see this all across the world. Of course, you see that in other places of the world. But I see that there's so much growth in the next, I would say, 10 years in India. I think that there's so much to do there that I would want to be part of that wave, in some way. Maybe I'll fail. Maybe I'll pivot and change my plans in the middle. But I think I can. And each time that I tell an investor, or I speak to an investor, or to someone that does business, when I expose this in this way, it makes sense. It's not like, and I have another advantage. I made a lot of friends. I made a lot of contacts in India. I have amazing people that I can ask for help and try to establish some business in certain places. So I think that I have that as an advantage. Establish a fantastic relationship with the Portuguese embassy in India. I've established an amazing relationship with the Indian embassy in Portugal. So I think that's also a good help in terms of more serious kinds of contacts. Also, we have a huge advantage. Our prime minister is from Indian origins. So each time that I have the opportunity to talk to him and speak about what we're doing and what we did at Zomato and what I want to do right now, because I participate in something that is Startup Portugal, and sometimes we have missions to go to countries and say, okay, we're entrepreneurs in Portugal. This is why you should invest in Portugal. So we try to create a soft landing platform for any investor that wants to come. So I go with the government sometimes in these missions to try to promote Portugal and also seek opportunities in other countries so we can expand. But each time that I talk to our prime minister, this is something that is very it's a need. It's something that everyone wants Portuguese companies to be represented in India. So I hope to be one of those companies that can do that in the near future.
Miguel, I'm going to get personal here. Why do you do it? Why do you do any of this? Because you have a lot of people that I know. I'm really privileged to have you as a mentor, right? And you've got this abundance of energy, but you're non-stop, and you're there, and you're constant, and as you said, you had Zomato, then you set up Sheerme, and you set up Sheerme in the middle of the pandemic called COVID, when most people are thinking, I've got a cushy job, I can stay there. You're saying, actually, do you know what? I need to grow, I need to excel. And you wrote this fantastic article on Medium and on LinkedIn. But why? What's that
Uh,
drive?
so I'm going to tell you something, and you know me a little bit. Maybe you'll understand what I'm saying. Most people won't. And I don't want to sound philosophical or nothing like that, but I genuinely like to help people. You know, I think that if I had help, more help in the past, I would have thrived faster. So if I can help, if I can contribute to the growth of anyone that crosses my path, that's something that fulfills me, and that's something that I really do want to do. Get out of my way. I sometimes I even uh, damage some of the things that I'm doing because I want to help others, and that's something I don't. If you ask me, but why? I don't have a clear answer, but it's something that I go home, I lay in bed, and I say, man, today I helped someone, and this is I feel good. I did my part. So I think that's I don't know if I answered your question or if
Well,
that
I was
was
going to
the
say, in
question.
your life, you said that if you had had support, you thought you would have got further. Like, what type of support do you think, and at what time
Basically,
in your life?
basically mentorship. You know, I think people that could say, okay, go to the left, go to the right, do this, do that. I think today there's a huge support system of people that want to help, of people that want to open doors and help each other, and even share knowledge, experience, and other stuff. So I think today we're in a different world than we were 10 years back, and I'm talking about tech business and digital business and because I think all other businesses are a little bit behind, but the tech area, I think everyone is willing to help in some way or another. There's a lot of podcasts like you're doing. There's a lot of we're in the era of communication, you know, and digital. Like I told you before, this rips the boundaries that people have because I'm not just buying a newspaper that just is sold on in London. I can read the newspaper digitally sitting in my home in Portugal. So I think there's so much information out there. Uh, Sometimes people don't know how to deal with all this information, and there's people that try to direct you in the best way. So I think, in short, I don't think there was, um, or I didn't find mentors like there are today, and that we can easily get to um, 10 years back. Basically, is that I think it's.
So it strikes a question in my head. What type of world would you like to see people live in? Because you're talking about things that are very pure
So
and
I
it's
believe
about
that
helping and supporting. So what is this world that you're starting to create then?
so I believe that if we think of ways that we can grow together, we can grow faster. I believe that sharing ideas, sharing projects, uh, integrating partnerships, there's always a way. There's even with my biggest competitor, there's a way that I can integrate, partner with, and gain more ground. I think we're stronger together than we are alone. So that's my way of thinking. But I cannot partner with the whole world. I have to pick my the people that I want to be. So I think I that's something that I believe in, and I don't want to seem um, arrogant saying this, but I think I've chosen the right people to surround me in the past few years, you know, and I've chosen the ones that I want to stick with, or because those are the people that make me grow, and I make them grow, and we grow together. So I think that comes with learning, with maturity, with the white beard that I'm getting right now. I think, you know, choosing the people that are the right people for you in that specific moment of your life. And I think that's important.
But what is your purpose? What is the meaning that you subscribe to your life then? Because you are a person that really does live without any type of boundaries. You live in the digital world, so that's got no boundaries in itself.
Hmm.
But what is your purpose?
So I think my purpose is that I want my kids to wake up and say, okay, my dad is doing this shit. He's the one that is helping here. He's involved in this. I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave the people that surround me that will do the same things that I'm doing the best way the way that they can. I don't want them to spend as much time as I do uh, creating stuff or helping other companies grow, but I want the people that surround me to have that mentality that let's share, let's integrate, let's grow, let's find the right people that makes us grow, and let's grow together as a business. So I think that's there's a very fine line between what I'm saying and what is actually possible, because sometimes you think, okay, I'm helping this guy, but this guy is just taking everything that you have and then applying to his own business, and you get sad. But I get sad like 10 minutes, and then I go past to the next thing, and it's over. I'll focus on someone else. But I think that's the thing. We need to help, and I feel very proud that you listen to me. When no, I contributed to something, and that's the best feeling that I can get at the end of the day, saying, okay, Mig, thank you. This was well. I don't want you to say thank you. I just want you to thrive and see the value of the things that I told you. That my experience contributed to your growth in some way. That's all that I want.
What's your biggest fear? Because we hear about this. You're there. You're your father. You got kids. You're in the digital space. The digital space has got no boundaries, but also that's a good thing and a bad thing. We got more access to information than ever before. We're almost bombarded with content as well.
Yeah. So my biggest fear, I think we have different fears in different parts of our lives at different moments. I think today the biggest fear after launching my business is not meeting the expectations, because the expectations are very high, and for what we're building, and not only in that, I don't like not to meet the expectations that people have for me or for the things that I'm doing. That's very important for me. That's why I'm always asking for feedback. I'm always asking, how can I improve? How can I do better what I do? That is something that is extremely important for me. But I think, like all of us, I fear failure. I feel getting sick and don't having the not having the power to drive the things that I'm trying to drive, because it's not just Sheerme. I'm doing other stuff, but it's that. I think it's the thing that scares me the most is not meeting expectations, at least my expectations.
Well, it's remarkable. I suppose. What about online though? Like we're both fathers. We got kids.
Hmm.
I know myself that my daughter's 6 years old, yet she's starting to use the computer and Googling things. And man alive, my heart beats 1,000 times a second, right? Because you just don't know what they're going to find as well. So
Yeah.
in your world, it's even more so because you are so ingrained within that digital environment.
So for our kids, there's boundaries. There's ways of limiting what they can see, and that's a good thing of what we do right now. As we know how to deal with digital, we also know how to create those limitations for our kids. But more than that, I think it's their choice. It's what we tell them to do. It's the trust that we put in them. So I don't have a lot of boundaries with my kids. I just tell them that what they can do and they can't do. And sometimes I just randomly ask them, okay, let's see what have you been doing on the internet? What is and I'm surprised in a very good way, not in a wrong way. Um, Believe me, man, it's scary. Yeah, it is. we haven't had so much information in our fingertips. We never had so much information, but you need to drive the people to do the right thing, and that's something that in my house, and today I'm home. Um, that's something that we take very seriously. It's a motto that we have: always do the right thing, And if we always do the right thing, or at least try to do the right thing, I think it's karma. Things come back and happen to us. I think and that applies to what my kids are looking into the internet. If I'm pretty sure that they've crossed some shady shit, but it's fine. I think if they look and then go back and don't go back again, that's the way that I don't want to follow. I think I'm okay with that.
It's definitely a new world, isn't it? I like this because it is. People forget that you are an entrepreneur. You've done this incredible stuff, but you're also a human being. And as a human being, we go through all these experiences together. That is this fragile form of us. And so it's always interesting to see what happens when we become fathers or parents, mothers, and see how that relationship grows and how it changes. Where do you see the future for even your country? Like, you're in Portugal, you are very proud to be Portuguese. It's a country that is almost a mini India in itself. You've got 75,000 people of Indian origin there. And it's extraordinary. You walk through, and it's probably the only countries in the planet that I've been to, that I've had the privilege of being to, where you don't feel any of this ethnic differences, in the sense that people don't stare. They don't. If you speak a foreign language, they don't just stop and peer at you. Or how do you see Portugal changing now?
So I see that Portugal is a melting pot from people all across the world. We're a beachside country. Everyone wants to come to Portugal. The weather is amazing. There's very little days of rain. So I think a lot of people are finding this pearl by the sea, and they're moving to this country. So if you go to the center of the city, you hear more English speaking people than you hear Portuguese speaking people, So I think that's been a huge change in the past 5-6 years. And I believe that that will continue to happen. Portugal is positioning itself to be the Silicon Valley of Europe, or the tech hub for Europe. And I think that can happen. If we go in that direction, I think this is a good thing to do, because Portugal has a very old population, especially in the inside areas outside of the cities. And I think we need to repopulate Portugal with new people, new mindsets, and thrive a little more, bring a little bit more, I don't know, youngness to our country, and because it's a fantastic country. So I see that there's a lot of potential here. I believe that our government has started to position Portugal in a way that makes a lot of sense. For many years, we didn't know how to sell Portugal. That's what I tell my friends in government. I believe that they always needed a good marketing guy behind there. But right now they do have, and Visit Portugal is doing an amazing job. Tourism Portugal is doing an amazing job. I'm each time that I have an opportunity to talk to Luis Araújo, that is the president of I'm always saying, man, I'm here to help. If you want me to, I need Portugal to be talked about and be out there. But I think it is, I think people from outside see Portugal as a very calm country, very safe country. We have a very chilled lifestyle, but a very, very hectic kind of way of working. So I think we have a good mixture of everything that people really want and value in their life. So I think I think there can be good stuff happening in Portugal in the next few years if another crisis doesn't hit us hard.
Miguel, you know what? Forget the business side. I got some, because you've had numerous interviews, all over the world. What's the one question that you wish people would ask you?
Well, that question. that's that's a tough one. Um, I don't know. I don't know, man. Because they've asked me pretty much everything, personal, professional. I've been asked a lot of stuff, and I'm okay to answer
Yeah.
everything. I need to think about this one. Let's leave it for
Ah,
the next
come on.
podcast.
No.
I don't know, man. I think the hardest question for me to answer is where am I going to be in 5 years? I think that is a question that a lot of people ask me, and it's a question that I never
Yeah,
know
but
how
that's
to
that's
answer.
that that's a very business. That's a
Yeah.
very logical question, and that's a great question, but not for podcasts like this one, man. It's like,
Okay, personal. Where do I see myself? What do I see myself doing in if I'm not working? So I think that that is the question that maybe a lot of people don't ask, or when they ask, I have to put it in a professional way. But I'm being sincere. I think that there's um, no difference. One of the things that makes me very happy, if I'm not working, I'm not happy. I think that's one thing, and my wife noticed that. I think at home, my wife noticed that if I don't have a challenge, if I don't have a problem to solve, I'm unhappy. So even if I'm home in my house, or I'll try to like break something just so I can fix it. I need a problem to solve. I think that's me. And that would be something that I really would like to solve. I would like to chill a little more, understand how can I stop needing to solve problems. And a lot of people told me, okay, you need to do some yoga and meditation and stop a little bit. Yeah, I know. But then I get this guilty feeling that I'm meditating 5 minutes and I should be dedicating those 5 minutes to something else, some problem I need to fix. So I think that's the tough question that I don't know how to answer. How to stop? How can I make myself stop a little bit so I can reboot or rethink, reiterate? I don't know everything. I really do think I'm starting to get into an age that sometimes I have to stop a little bit to think a little more, to look in perspective, and I can't always be thriving. I know that but I don't know how to stop. Yeah.
okay, do you know what? I like this. So if I'm going to go a bit deeper, I like this. This is great. Okay, so we go a bit deeper. When you close your eyes and you feel yourself, what is it that actually does deeply, deeply scare you? Forget about the fears. Forget about this being diplomatic. We're friends, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's me, you, and an audience ultimately. But what does actually deeply scare you?
I think it's that what I told you before. I'm being completely sincere, and in all areas of my life, I think I not meeting the expectation of being a good father, being a good husband, being a good son, being a good man. I think that covers a lot. And it has layers. Okay, I'm not meeting the expectations in my office. That's one thing, and that's one level of deepness. But if I'm not meeting the expectation of me as a father or as a husband, that's another level of deepness,
Yeah.
and the scariness is a lot higher. I think it's all the same, but it has layers and different layers of. But not meeting the expectations is something that really scares me. Yeah.
Because there's that really taps into this notion of identity, isn't it? It's what do we prescribe ourselves to be? Are we the labels that other people portray? And if so, what's the emotional input that surrounds that? You know, being a father, what does that mean to me? But also, what does that mean to my kids' perception of that as well? And
But
that's something
you're a
that we all, isn't it?
you're a pot within a pot within a pot within a
Yeah.
pot. Those little dolls, those Russian dolls. That's us. And each doll has its label and has its problems and its complexities. And I think that's being human. Not only as an entrepreneur, I have my weaknesses and my fears, as a man, as a professional, as working for someone else. So all that, I think there has different levels of complexity, but if I can put it into one, fear, and the fear is not meeting expectations, it's not being there, it's not being able to provide for my family, to provide for whatever is needed. I think that's someone told me once, a friend of mine that is he's a tough guy, and he's like, well, we ride our Harleys at the weekend, and we try to act like men and like strong men, but then we drink like 2 or 3 beers and we start being emotional, and and even we cry like girls and shit, but it's fine. And he once told me that uh, that's maybe just us being men. You know, we're expected. I don't know if I'm being too much of I don't know if I'm being too much, but this made sense to me. Where I'm a man and I have to provide for my family. I'm a man. I have to always be here and be strong and be a rock. But
Yeah.
sometimes we're not, and that's it's for me. That's not meeting the expectations. You know, I'm not meeting the expectations of being a man at the end of the day.
Yeah, no,
That
no,
rock.
it makes sense. It's, I suppose as everybody, what the sense that we want to have is freedom, freedom of
Yeah.
expression, freedom of being able to go out there and to choose and to make things work. But then there's also this other expectations that society throws on your shoulders. And it's interesting because I think those who know you and those who will ultimately after the podcast Google you will see you're this highly incredibly successful entrepreneur. But that success is one portion of what this experience of being a human for you is. The other
Yeah.
portion, which is incredibly important, is saying actually, as a person, as Miguel, what have I put towards my own life to be the best version of me? And I still have fears. I still have these things. But
Hmm.
yet I'm embracing that, and at least I'm working through that, and I'm finding solutions. And driving a Harley and having 2 beers and crying, it's part and parcel of the experience,
Yeah.
As long as the two things aren't done at the same time, it's all right.
So I think it's that's something, maybe it's seen as a weakness for some. Maybe it's a defect that I have. Maybe it's a weakness. I don't know. But there's no separation of Miguel the entrepreneur and Miguel the human. There's
Yeah.
it's a bond between them, and we cannot. I can choose priorities, and I can say that I don't have time for this or for that or for that, because that's choosing priorities. But I'm not being a less of a human saying that. If I'm sincere to a person, I don't have time. I'm dedicated to this because at this moment this is more important to me than anything else. But I think that's one thing that it can be a weakness, it can be a plus, it can be a minus. I don't know, but it's who I am, and I live good with that. I live well with this. There's the entrepreneur, the person, the human being is the same thing. There's maybe in some parts of the days one is greater than the other, of course, because of those priorities that we need to. But at the end of the day, I think there's a balance, and that's what I don't make an effort to make this happen. But I think at the end of the day, I look back at my day and I said, okay, there was balance here, and I'm fine. And if there's balance, it was a good day.
I think, you know what? I think this is a powerful podcast in the sense that it's messages for life, isn't it? It goes beyond borders and it goes beyond perceived ethnicity, saying, taking this experience, can we be authentically us and allow that authenticity to glide itself through your own life rather than you trying to put yourself in pigeonholes?
So
And
you touched one point that is very important for me, authenticity, because since I was young, I have long hair. I wear a ponytail. I have beard. I've always had beard. I've worked in very corporate companies that wanted everyone to wear ties and suits, and I and have a clean shave and clean haircut and stuff like that. And I never had. I wear my suit. I wear a shirt, but never a tie. Okay, and used to go to these meetings with one of the administrators would look at everyone and say, okay, everyone here has to wear a tie, has to have a clean shave, has to look professional and corporate like. And then everyone would look at me and say, okay, don't look at Miguel. While he reaches his targets, he can do whatever he wants. He can be who he is because he reaches his targets every month. So I think and that like once again bringing back the expectations. There was always expectations out of people, and I always tried to meet those expectations so I could have my own, be myself. You know, I like to wear sneakers. I like to wear a t-shirt, even if I go to a presentation. Yeah, I can dress up a little bit, but I want to be comfortable. You know, and I think that's me, and that's me being me. And if people want to have the best of me, let me be myself. That's I think that's the authenticity. I can't say the word even is very important for me. Being authentic is very important for me.
I think that's fantastic. I think that is the message to end on. It's powerful, and I just want to say thank you for coming on, taking up the baton, because everything that you're saying translates into this notion of identity, which translates into a notion of what we look at, this idea of Indianism or being Indian. We're the world's largest fraternity all over, but are you authentically you? Or are you trying to subscribe yourself to a preconditioned thought of this is how you have to behave? Because everybody has the opportunity,
We're some of all people that cross us, we're some of the four people that are around us every day. Okay, so I think going to India, working with an Indian company, working with that culture and other different cultures also made me a better man. I wouldn't be who I am, and I wouldn't be so secure and confident and the person that I am today if I hadn't gone. And because there was amazing things that happened in India, there was awful things that happened in India with Zomato, but mainly at the end of the day, the richness that I got out of that company was absolutely incredible, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And I owe Zomato a lot, and I owe India, the culture, the people that crossed me a lot, because they made me a better professional, a better man, better father. So yeah, I think India is in my heart. It always will be, because I think we need to completely get out of our comfort zone. It's not like, oh, I'm going to get out. I live in Lisbon. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and I'm going to go to Barcelona. That's extreme. No, it's not. Go to a different culture, eat different food, see how it's like, see what is a poor person in Europe is completely different than a poor person in India, and you don't even recognize what that is, and so yeah, I think I always will be connected to India some way, and I hope that with time I'll be more and more.
That's fantastic. No, you're right. I think challenge your comfort zones, because the world is big. We can't just sit there and, even if you don't have the ability to travel, at least you got the ability to meet new people where you are. Yeah, at least shape your mindset. What a fantastic episode. I'm sure you agree. Miguel is such a joy to have on this show. Not only is a entrepreneur, a mentor, a person who's a custodian of this element of Indianness, but he's also such a great lad. That's exactly what you want. As promised at the beginning, so if you'd like to find out more about the Global Indian series, it is so easy to do. You can get in touch with us via a couple of different ways. One, via YouTube, where you can visit us at the Global Indian series. There you can see the entire selection of conversations so far. You can like, you can comment, and you can share. Vitally important. Or secondly, you can come to us via social media, via Instagram, at the Nazrans. And if you have a story that you want to share, or something that's close to your heart about the Global Indian experience, touch base with us, because together we get to create a living encyclopedia of our community. Until next week, I hope all remains well. stay safe,